do something new, I had this idea of a startup where we were planning to do local deliveries in Hyderabad in 120 minutes. It was new back then in 2017. The startup went well. We had a good funding, around close to 1 crore funding, and all was there. We
Wow.
made twice and three times of what we got. It was going good, and then this corona came into picture, and we landed out in a big problem from there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abhishek, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to one more episode of Inspiring Podcast. And in this episode, I have Ashutosh with me. Ashutosh was a startup founder. He was doing very good with his startup. And unfortunately, there was some losses that he had to see, and he has to shut down that startup. And not getting demotivated, he actually took a very good pivot. And currently, he is working as a software engineer in one of the top product based companies. So I thought it will be very good to invite Ashutosh onto the channel and learn from his journey. So I would like to ask Ashutosh, Ashutosh, can you walk us through your journey? What were you doing before and what are you doing currently?
Sure. First of all, thanks a lot, Abhishek. Thanks a lot for calling me here. It's an honor to talk to people like you who are working really hard, inspiring people. It was very difficult when I started off because inspiration was something else, but we could not find content at all to get inspired. But now that people like you are there on YouTube and all, it really helps us to understand stuff. Thank you. So to start off my journey, yes. Let's go into the flashback when I finished my BTech in 2016. Post 2016, I worked in a non-technical field for 2 years.
Okay.
I thought, why not do something new? I had this idea of a startup where we were planning to do local deliveries in Hyderabad in 120 minutes. It was new back then in 2017. The startup went well. We had a good funding, around close to 1 crore funding, and all was there. We
Wow.
made twice and three times of what we got. It was going good, and then this corona came into picture, and we landed out in a big problem from there. We tried to pick up pace in 2019, but again it was very difficult to pick up pace. Getting funding again was also a big challenge. So I had to drop off the entire idea. In 2021, at the end of 2000, dawn of 2021, we shut down the entire startup. In 2022, I was all blank. I didn't know what to do. It was like, what now? What now?
And from there, like, we all have downfalls in the career for sure. Like we all have bad times. We all have things that are going wrong. But the main thing is, how did you come back, right? Uh, What is the pivot that you have taken? So in your case, that has worked really well because now if I look at you, you are working as a AI engineer, software engineer in one of the product-based companies, and you are earning well. So can you tell me what was going through your mind? Because it's not that easy that you have shut down a company and then, okay, wake up next morning and say that, okay, I'll work as a software engineer. Things doesn't go that way, right? So I would like to hear from you.
So it was very difficult because um, we did not have bank loans in hand, but there was an investor who
Okay,
really supported us in that time.
okay,
Um, when we closed the business, and when I came back home, because until the business was running, I rarely used to come back home. I used to stay in the company, and I used to take a home close to the office place so I can commute easily.
yeah,
But then I was sitting at home for the entire day. And the very next day when all of this happened, I came back home and I don't know what to do. I get up at 6 in the morning, and until 9 at night, I'm just sitting and thinking, should I go back to the non-technical side? Should I start another startup? Should I, do some other business? It was all haywire in my mind.
yes.
And then I was sitting like this for a good 2 months. Then I thought I have to do something. I cannot just sit like that.
Hmm.
I started searching for ideas. So because I was in a logistics business, I had this knowledge of SQL and all.
Okay.
So from SQL, I went to search what else can I do with SQL, because I had
Okay.
this knowledge of SQL. So from there, I learned that there's something called data analysis, and
Hmm.
then there's something called data science. And then
Wow.
when I saw what is data science, then it was interesting to me. That's how I got into this field.
Okay. So after thinking a lot, you choose the stream data science. Yeah, it's very interesting because looking at how AI is trending, all the talks about generative AI. So data science is a very good one. And learning this particular thing, right? So it's all okay. Like you have decided that I want to enter into the data science. You might have done some market research. But after that, even people on my channel, basically there are a lot of DevOps and cloud subscribers on the channel, and they find it very difficult to find a proper path. There has to be a roadmap. There has to be a structure to what you're learning. And there also has to be a self-evaluation. Am I actually right? Learning things right? Is the path that I'm taking is right or wrong? So in your case, how did you figure out that this is the structure that I want to learn? And who was guiding you?
Okay, this is like a very frank thing. I don't know if I should say this here, but for 4 months straight, I was studying on my own, because when you start a startup, you have that confidence in yourself
Yeah.
that I touch anything and it will happen. So I can
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
So with that confidence, I still won't say it's overconfidence. It was still
Yeah.
confidence,
Yeah.
but
Self pride.
so
Yeah.
you feel that you can achieve it, you can get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when I started learning, it became an ocean for me. From
Yes.
a small drop of water, it became a pond, from pond to a river, and then it moved into an ocean.
Hmm.
Then I don't know what else to do. And am I okay? Is this much knowledge enough?
Yes.
That is when I started learning. I started searching for a proper path.
Hmm.
But even when you see paths on free websites, still you don't know if you have learned enough so you can sit for an interview. So there should be a third person telling you that no, you're not ready just yet,
Yes.
or you have to do this as well, or this is not done, or this is outdated. How would you
Yes.
know? Because content sometimes go outdated in just 6 months.
Yeah.
So like we see this chat gpt right now, right? So
Yeah.
like 2 years back we didn't even know what chat gpt was, but right now it has
Exactly.
become a thing. So for that stuff we really need a path and a third person to do that. For me, I searched here and there a lot, and then I stumbled upon this institute called OdinSchool.
Okay.
They had this wonderful curriculum. I mean, very good curriculum. Because even after I have done my previous research for good 4 months, after getting into the institution, I understood that okay, this is also important, which I did not do, which I just left. Okay,
Okay.
and how do you know that it is important? When you really sit for an interview.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they in their curriculum they started off with basic Python, and then after that they did some advanced Python. From there you move to statistics. We had this implementation of machine learning, deep learning, NLP. Um, Generative AI was very new at that time, so it was just basics and all
Okay.
in 2021 and 22. So it was just very basics, but they taught us really well in the entire curriculum. And the best part was if you have doubts and all, they really came back. I mean, you could go and ask
Hmm.
them at any point of time, and they would really solve that. So that was something you really need when you're starting off.
Got it.
They also had mock interview sessions, which really helped me. I gave like 3 or 4 mock interviews at that time, which really helped me to understand. Okay, this is what is important.
And currently, where you're working, right? You're working in a product-based company, and you are typically doing the real-time data science work. Is also generative AI included as part of your regular work? How does it look like? Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? For someone, let's say they are learning data science, but they don't know what a data scientist does on a day-to-day basis. Can you give a overview on how does your day look like?
Data science, um, the final product looks really good, but to get to that product, there is a lot of hand dirting that we do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of manual work that we do. There's a lot of annotation. There's a lot of it's such a long process to explain. But
Yes.
yeah, on a daily basis, yes, we do a lot of research. We
Hmm.
sit down to solve problems. So when you ask what does a data scientist do, we really try and solve our problems,
Hmm.
try to automate problems. That's the basic understanding that we have. We are given a sort of problem in which is not being which is being manual for a very long time, and they
Yes.
want to get it automated.
Hmm.
So that's exactly what ChatGPT does. Basic difference how we can explain it.
So, see, Ashutosh, whenever learning part is different and practically working in an organization is different, and I'm sure you agree to it, right? So while learning, you learn different kind of things. You have a mentor. You have learned things structurally. In your case, Odin School has really helped you in learning things structurally. But after that, like if you talk about me, so our channel is known for the projects that we are doing. So we do a lot of DevOps and cloud products projects on the channel that really help people understand how does a real-time environment look like. So in your case, the course that you have taken in Odin School, was that also helping you with respect to the courses, the data science projects? I mean,
Yes, very much. So when we are doing, when I did a course on, let me just recall. It was on credit card fraud and all.
okay,
The first uh, project that I did on there. So back then, credit card fraud was new thing in the market,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's still one of the first things that you should do when you're learning. I would still
Okay.
suggest it
Okay.
because there is a lot.
So you would
Yes,
suggest
yes.
anyone who is starting data science to start with such kind of a project. Okay.
Yeah, that project is good. It's really a good project. So you get to do a lot of steps involving. So
Okay.
there are two phases. First, we were given the data set and asked to do it. And then when we did it, then we had a discussion with the mentor that we had in
Okay.
data science in the Odin school, and we compared our code to his code, and we
Hmm.
understood that these are all the steps that we missed.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, when we were doing data cleaning, data evaluation, um, but comparing different models
Hmm.
to matrix, confusion matrix, all that stuff, and then so when we compared it, then we understood that okay, these are the stuff that we should have done.
Hmm.
Okay, and when we go to the real world scenario and do the same problem, similar kind of problem, we understand that okay, I missed it there, so I
Okay.
should do it here.
Okay.
That helps. That really helps. Yeah.
Makes sense. Like even I keep saying that more number of projects that you do, more amount of hands that you get dirty, that will be very much helpful for you when you start with a real project. Like you go to a company and things should not look like an alien to you. You should at least understand, okay, so this is something that I've done. Probably the thing that I'm doing in the organization might be so big, but at least I have some basic foundation to understand it, right?
Correct. Yes.
And Ashutosh, as a data scientist, let's say someone who is watching this podcast, right? What are the challenges that data scientists face? See, learning path, okay. Doing projects, okay. But what kind of challenges do you see in this field? And how do you see the future of this field? That is more important. Uh, would you recommend someone to take data science as a career if they are looking for next 5 to 10 years?
Challenges is you have to continuously keep learning. So I
Okay,
finished my course in 2022, and I am this 2024, and I'm still learning something new today.
okay.
That keeps going on.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh, get a very strong hands-on on Python. Like for me, the first difficulty was getting a hands-on on Python. And a lot of
Hmm.
people they don't have the understanding of basic Python, and they move on to do projects. When they do that, they are not able to cope up the basic stuff
Hmm.
where they have to do a string concatenation or list concatenation, and they struggle with asking everything to the internet.
Hmm.
Rather than that, if you get a grip on the the programming language first, and then move on to do a certain project, it becomes way easier for you.
Got it.
Apart from that, the other challenge that is, when you're learning something new, there's not a lot of content available
Hmm.
on this.
Hmm.
Okay, because a lot of people don't know it.
Yes.
Now let's say generative AI is available on internet or in our world since 2014, but we learned about the term just last year.
Last couple of years, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it is. So even though there is something available, if it is not in use, people don't know about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is a big challenge.
Okay.
So
So in
maybe that's where
data
you notice.
science, so in data science, you mean to say that you come across a lot of new terms and you have to keep updating yourself, right?
Every single day.
Okay. And the second question that I had was, how do you see the future of data science? Like, would you recommend someone who wants to stay in this career for next 5 years?
Um, I think all even DevOps is a very good future. I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything now. But
Yeah.
the only thing is data science has a very long learning curve. If you are
Hmm.
okay with that curve in your
Hmm.
life, then you will have a very good future.
Okay.
And you don't realize how big that curve is unless you step into it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's all interesting. If you have that zeal in yourself that you want to learn something new, you
Hmm.
don't want to do the repetitive tasks that you have been doing, then I think data science is the field for you. Yes, and it will keep growing in the
Okay.
coming years.
And like, because we are discussing all this, and I hope a lot of people who are interested in data science will watch this podcast. And the question that obviously people will have is, okay, you people are talking about projects, you people are talking about the learning structure, but what about the interview questions, right? That is the most keen thing. Like, okay, you do all of the things, you sit for an interview, and if you're not prepared for the interview questions, then it's all like nothing that you have done. uh, in your case, so how was your interview preparation strategy? Again, was Odin School helping you, or were you doing self interview preparation?
Um, Interview preparation, we did both. Like
Okay.
I started with OdinSchool. OdinSchool really helped me out there because they had
Hmm.
the set of questions those are there. That I mean, set not really the exact set of questions, but
Hmm.
after reading around 10, 15, 20 questions, or taking on sitting on for mock interviews for a prolonged period of time, you understand. Okay, this is the kind of question that I'm expecting in this
Oh, you
interview.
had mock interviews also.
Yeah, we had mock interviews in Odin School.
Okay.
And then every mock interview is different from every other mock interview. Let's say if you are sitting for one
Hmm.
company, based on the kind of resume or CV that they are expecting, the mock interview will differ
Hmm.
based on their requirement. And that changes again for every other company. So if you
Hmm.
have like 5 or 10 companies in your hand, all the 5 or 10 companies will have a different mock interview.
Makes sense.
People don't do that in
Hmm.
general because we don't know about it. But when you go into organizations like Odin School, you get to understand that there's a structure for every company. You
Hmm.
can't study for Meta and give an interview at Google. It's not possible. They're two
Yeah.
different companies.
Agree. Hmm. Got it.
Yeah, so that is how I studied first from there. I also did my personal research out there. YouTubers like you really help. So there I learned few stuff, but mostly I got
Well,
like 80% of my knowledge for the interview stuff from Odin's website. Yes.
awesome. And like, I have one final question, or probably a couple of final questions before we conclude this. So, uh, like, what does the entrepreneur in you tell to you at this point of time? Like, because you left the entrepreneurship and you are currently, of course, you are in a very good path, and you're exploring this new side of your life. But does that entrepreneur kick in between and tell you like, Ashutosh, let's do one more? Like, just curious to understand, because taking to a company to certain level is not at all easy. Personally, I have tried it once, and I did not have a good experience. It was a bitter experience. Of course, I've seen the profits as well, but I realized it's not that easy, like we think. Once we put hands on the execution, then you have so much things to see. We all think about profits, but profits is just one side of it. That's what I've realized. Apart from
Correct.
profits, you have a lot of mental stress, you have a lot of physical stress, right? So, yeah, what do you think?
I feel a lot like that. So
Hmm,
when this ChatGPT generative AI came into existence,
hmm,
I also thought, okay, that's interesting. Maybe we can do something about it.
hmm.
But right now, I need a little stability, and also I
Yeah.
want to stick to this job. And there is a lot of learning involved here. So I
Hmm.
don't want to leave it somewhere in between so that half learning is bad. I
Yes.
want to finish what I have started, not finish, but get to a point where I am satisfied with me.
Hmm.
Probably I'll think something about it later on.
Okay. Okay. I'll not bother you more there. Like, one final question before we conclude is that, as a data scientist, how much are you involved in uh, learning this new AI trends? Like, is data science completely different from what this prompt engineers, generative AI, all that cool stuff that's going on the market? So, do you get involved, or do you closely work with such kind of trends that are going on?
Uh, we do. I do. Like we have done two generative AI projects up until
Okay,
now.
awesome.
Um, and prompt engineering. I think prompt engineering is something you do for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but the thing here is mostly people don't want something that is very fancy. The
Hmm,
companies
hmm.
they want more stability in their business. So
Got it.
uh, they look for data science, but they look it in a different way. Like
Hmm.
how do I say this? They mostly try to use still the deep learning concepts that we have, and their
Okay.
problems also relate closely to that itself.
Hmm.
And data science, generative AI itself is expensive. Again, there's a cloud involvement,
GPUs.
and
Yeah.
yes, there's an integration to their software. All of that also
Hmm.
goes on. So
Okay.
companies in India don't want to spend that much on it, but
Okay.
US, yes, somewhat.
Got it. Yeah, I'm very interested in the space of generative AI. I'll definitely involve you on a podcast on the channel. I was doing some videos on the generative AI, and definitely would like to see you and discuss more on that particular thing. But thank you so much for joining us today. And it was very insightful, even personally for me, because your journey is itself very inspiring. And I'm very sure if someone who is watching this podcast, they'll definitely have something to take back. And thanks for throwing the light on data science. How did you learn? What was your preparation strategy? How did you prepare for the interviews? Yeah, thank you so much again. So that was the podcast. And if any one of you is interested in data science, and like Ashutosh did, if you want to take part in the courses of OdinSchool, then you have the link in the description. By following that link, you can explore the courses, not just data science, they also have courses in other streams.